I've been traveling through South America the last few days. Did anything happen over the weekend that I missed? This is Caleb Jones, and this is Unchained CEO, Location Independent Income from your location independent Alpha 2.0 business, freeing yourself from your soul-crushing, soul-destroying, life-destroying 9-to-5 corporate job or gigs, moving to a less bad country, or at least setting up an international backup plan so that you can live a free and happy life and be protected from your collapsing country, which is collapsing right before your eyes, Americans. I love Americans. I'm in Paraguay right now. I'm so happy to be here. It's so relaxing, so nice. No taxes to territorial tax, friendly people, everything's great. And then I love it when Americans actually told me this. Well, Caleb, I can't move to Latin America. It's not stable. It's Caleb, I need to live in a stable country, Caleb, for my children. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the next rung of the ladder on the road to American and Western collapse, which happened over the weekend. Everyone on the internet has to talk about this, so I guess I have to talk about this. Even people who don't talk about politics. I mean, Tom Billy was talking about this. Owen Cook, for those of you know who he is, he was talking about this. Everyone has to talk about this. Yeah, America's collapsing. Is this news? What the fuck, guys? What have I been saying since 2012? All right. As always, we need to look at this rationally and objectively using our rational brains, not our irrational feelings, which don't work. So as I've shown many times, I've described many times, the United States, the entire culture, the entire zeitgeist, the entire internet is controlled by two groups of completely insane people. Two large groups. They're both totally insane. They both do not have the ability now to solve basic problems. One group is the woke psycho left. These are people who think there's 47 genders and people who think Trump is literally Hitler, even though Trump was already president for 4 years and did nothing Hitler-like at all. They don't care because they're psychotic and they're irrational. They're insane. We have another group of insane people called Trump supporters, the Trump idiots. And these are people who think that if Trump is president, everything will be fine. He'll fix everything, even though he was already president for 4 years and did literally nothing he promised, as I've analyzed in past videos and past articles on my blogs. He did not build a wall. He did not bring the manufacturing jobs back. He did not end any wars. He didn't do anything he promised whatsoever. I showed with real numbers in a long, detailed video on this channel, on the YouTube channel, I should say, Unchained Man, Unchained CEO. You're free to go watch that video, okay? But again, Trump supporters are insane. They're totally irrational. It doesn't matter if facts aren't relevant to these people. And this is the United States now, which is one of the many reasons, not the only reason, one of the many reasons why America is collapsing right before your very eyes. These two groups of people cannot now solve basic problems. That's why I know for a fact the United States will collapse, because there's nothing the Americans can do to solve it. They don't want to solve it. They want to keep playing this video game, okay? So when you have this thing happen over the weekend with someone shooting Trump in the ear, how did both these groups of psychopaths react? The first group of psychopaths, the group, the Trump supporters, how did they react? Did they react objectively and rationally based on the? No. Here's most of the reactions that I've seen over the past 72 hours on the internet from Trump supporters. He's awesome because he rose a fist. He rose a fist in the air with the American flag. This picture is perfect. Oh my God, he's invincible. I'm gonna come. That's most of the reactions that I've seen. Or things like, we're gonna win now. We're gonna win, everybody. Trump's going to win the election and nothing will happen for 4 years again, except Trump will spend trillions of dollars again and further collapse the United States. Yay, everybody. I'm going to come. Look at this photo of Trump with his fist in the air. All right. So that's the first reaction of the first group of two insane people. Okay. The second group of insane people is, of course, the woke psycho left. What has been their reaction? The reactions that I've seen on the internet is really two categories. One is, God damn it, they missed. God damn it. 1 inch up. Can you fucking try again? God damn, why did you shoot? You should have shot him. God fucking damn it. And of course, the Trump idiots clutch their pearls. How dare you say that? We'll get to that in a second. The second reaction I saw from the woke left, especially on Saturday when this happened, was it's staged. This is all bullshit. They staged it. They staged it. Which is exactly what many of you said when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Caleb, you understand, this is all staged. No, you idiots, it's not staged. I said it then, and I'm saying it now. Hollywood is not that organized. The Republican Party is not that organized to stage something like this. It really did happen. Republicans are incompetent. They're morons. It's the same thing as saying that Bush was behind 9/11 or the Republicans were behind 9/11. No, the Republicans aren't that competent. They're a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of incompetent morons. Look what they've done in the United States. So no, that is incorrect. It was not staged. So every time something like this happens, you're going to get a whole group of people on the internet, left and right, like, it was staged. It was staged, man. No, you dumb fuck, it wasn't staged. Now, when a bunch of wokesters will say, God damn it, they missed, we should try again, all the Trump supporters clutch their pearls like little old ladies go, oh, how dare they? How dare they say that about, try again. How dare they say that about our God, Donald Trump, who sucks and didn't do anything last time he was president. Let me explain to you why that occurred. Again, rational, objective, okay, using your brain, not your feelings, your brain. This is the example I've used before. This is an example that shows the decline, the cultural and political decline of the USA over the course of my lifetime. So in the early 1970s, when I was busy being born, I was a baby, we had a president named Richard Nixon who was committing crimes in office. He was a Republican. He was committing crimes, and it's not a legend. He was really doing them. What did the Republicans, his fellow Republicans, say to him? He said, motherfucker, you got to go. You need to leave. We love you. You need to go. We can't have a president committing crimes while he's president. That doesn't work. We're America. Now, this was in the 70s before America started going insane around the 1990s, as I've talked about many times. So America was more or less rational back then, or at least those running America. So 25 years later, you had another president in office committing crimes. His name was Bill Clinton. This is in the late 90s. Now, this was after the baby boomers had taken over and America was starting to go insane. So to the late 90s when this happened, Bill Clinton was a Democrat. What did the Democrats say to Bill Clinton? Did they say, you got to go, motherfucker? No. What did they say? They said something a little different. They said, what Bill Clinton did was bad. This is bad. This is deplorable. This is terrible. Fuck Bill Clinton. Bad, bad. But let's let him stay there. Let's give him another chance. He's bad. He shouldn't have done that. Bad Bill Clinton. Bad boy. They censured him and all that shit. But let's give him another chance. Let's leave him in there. Let's just move on. And if you remember, those of you my age, you watched news back in 1999, this all happened for about a year, all the lefters were saying, can we just move on? Let's just move on. Yes, it's bad. Let's just move on. They made an entire website called moveon.org from keep saying move on with the Monica Lewinsky shit. 25 years later after that, we had another president named Donald Trump committing crimes in office. Well, Joe Biden committed crimes too. Go watch the Trump video I did on my YouTube channel, where if I say something negative about a president, your only answer is, well, he did it too, or he's worse. Go watch that video as to why that's a psychotic response. Donald Trump was committing crimes in office. I don't mean Russian collusion. That was bullshit. Several things, including Donald Trump ordered Comey to not investigate him. That's obstruction of justice. That's a fucking felony, and we know he did it because he admitted to it on video. Donald Trump, while he was president, we know from his tax returns, took something like $72 million from the Saudi Arabian government. That is a direct violation of the emoluments clause of the Constitution. You cannot, while you're president, take gifts or anything of value from foreign dignitaries. My God, he should have been impeached immediately. You know, you don't study history, so most of you don't know this. Jimmy Carter, back in the 70s, owned a peanut farm in like Nebraska or something. He sold that just to be clear that, hey, I don't have any, financial interest as president. Trump's getting millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia. Blatant crime. When you told Trump supporters this, and to this day this is still true, when you told Trump supporters, what was the reaction of Republican Trump supporters? Here was the reaction. So, okay, so you've gone from Nixon, you committed crimes, you need to leave, even though you're on our team, to Clinton, you committed crimes, that's very bad, we'll let you stay, to, so what if he committed crimes? So what? Fuck you, man. MAGA. So you guys set the precedent for this. So now that all the woke left are saying, God damn it, they missed, try again, man. You're like, oh, how dare you? Well, asshole, guess what? You are part of the problem. If you are a psychotic, irrational Trump defender, you are part of the problem. And if you are a rational thinker, and I know who a lot of you are, some of you aren't, but I know a lot of you are, you understand, hopefully, that there's no good guys in these scenarios. There's no good team or bad team. They are both bad. They are both collapsing the United States. They are both making the United States worse. Every year, this is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, for those of you who do have a functioning brain, the percentage of you who can think rationally about this, instead of saying, Trump's awesome, or God damn it, they lost. Those of you who are rational, critical thinkers, here are some questions you need to ask yourself going forward. If you still live in the collapsing USA, why the hell do you live? Number one, is this the last time they're going to try to kill Trump? Is this the last time they've done? Oh, okay, I guess we're done. Is this the last time? Or is this going to keep happening, keep happening, keep happening, keep happening, keep happening? Even after he's president. What is the statistical probability this is the last time they're going to try to take this guy out? This is where the Trump supporters are right. They tried to beat him in the election. They tried to beat him civilly. They tried to beat him criminally. Didn't work. Okay, the last thing they've got is assassination. They tried to shoot him. Didn't work. There's 10,000 ways you can kill someone besides shooting them, by the way. There's poison. There's all kinds of ways to do this. Okay, you think this is the last time? Is this the last time? This is Banana Republic stuff because this is assassination for political reasons. Now, it's true that when I was a kid in the 80s, Ronald Reagan got shot, okay? But that wasn't political. That was a random psycho. Those who don't know, Ronald Reagan was shot because a random psychopath thought that the actress Jodie Foster told him to kill Reagan. Cuckoo. So no, it wasn't politically motivated. This was completely politically motivated, you know for sure. You know for a fact. That doesn't mean the person who shot Trump was not mentally deranged. He probably was also. But all the woke left is insane, and all the Trump supporters are insane. Just measurements of how insane we're dealing with. Is this the last time? Including if he wins and he becomes president. So you Trump supporters are going to win, quote unquote. Let's say you win. He wins the election in November. He becomes president, and then they kill him in February. Would you win? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next question. If you're rational and you have a rational thinking brain, the Secret Service completely fucked up. Completely, as you already, I'm not going to go through the details. Everyone's talking about this. I don't need to go through the details. Do you think now this happened, the Secret Service is going to completely clean up their act and fix all the problems that they have? You think someone's going to come in there and fire a bunch of people and clean up the fucking Secret Service? And you really think that's going to happen? How many people were fired? How many government officials were fired after 9/11 for rank incompetence? Zero. Do you know what the number one priority of the Secret Service has been over the past several years? What's the number? Those of you in the chat, you can put it in there. What is the number one priority of the Secret Service over the past several years? To shore up security, because we live in an increasingly more violent and dangerous world, more unstable world. We got to ramp up security. We got to lock down our procedures. We got to apply better training to our agents. No, it's to make sure we have at least 30% of our agents as women. Okay, so do you think the Secret Service is going to improve? One of you said hire 30% more women. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's the next question. Next question, and this is one that if you are a Trump supporter, you can't ask because you're too insane. If Trump is reelected, what will actually happen? What will actually change the United States for the good long term? If you're rational, be very specific. What is Trump going to do that will have long-term positive ramifications in the United States? Go ahead. He's actually going to do it. Not talk about it, not brag about it, not about this plan 2025 that the Republicans aren't going to do, just like build a wall. What is he actually going to do? What did he do last time? Did he build a wall? No. Did he bring the manufacturing jobs back? No. Did he end any wars? No. Did he do anything he promised? No. As I predicted he wouldn't, and I was right. The only thing he did do back then, and I reported this at the time, was he cut my taxes. And I say my taxes because I'm a high-income guy. He didn't cut your taxes. In many cases, he raised a lot of your Americans' taxes. Guys who got divorced before Trump used to be able to write off their alimony, including me when I got divorced. It was great. Not anymore. Okay, so what is Trump going to do? Go ahead. Yeah. Next question. If Biden is reelected, or whoever the Democrat Party tells the psycho woke to vote for, yes, they might throw Michelle Obama in there. I'll talk about in a second. If Biden is reelected, what will Biden do as a long-term positive when he's president? Go ahead. Give me one thing. Using objective, rational analysis and not your hopes and your emotions. Long term. I don't mean for 6 months or a year or two. Long term. I have the next podcast I do at this channel next week will be called Elections Don't Matter. I'm going to give you real data, real historical and economic data about why they don't matter. Even if there's a blip of good thing in a democracy, the guy you like is out in 4 or 5 years and a new guy comes in and fucks it all up. How is the collapse of the United States going to be averted from Trump or Biden or Michelle Obama or whoever whoever? By the way, they talk about America being a banana republic. That's not technically true yet, but I will tell you when that line is crossed. When America has officially crossed the line into banana republic territory, if they run Michelle Obama, if they somehow get Biden's wife, who runs his life, all these beta male presidents, they somehow get Biden's wife, who runs his life, to relent and quit, and they run Michelle Obama, who doesn't want to run, but they kind of put a gun to her head and make her run, okay? That's banana republic shit. I'm in Latin America right now. That's Latin America shit. That's Eva Perón shit. When they run the wife of some president to be president, you want to say insane? Both groups of people are totally insane. And by the way, if they do run Michelle Obama, she could win. She will give Trump a run. I'm not saying she will or won't. I don't predict elections anymore because American voters are too psychotic. I don't know. But I'm saying Michelle Obama could absolutely kick Trump's ass because everyone worships her for no reason, because they're irrational. It's the same thing as if you ran Oprah Winfrey as president like 10 years ago. She would have slaughtered because Americans are so stupid. Not stupid, irrational. A lot of stupid Americans too. We're talking about America. All right. In about 15 minutes, Billy will come on. We'll talk about how to get out of the collapsing West, particularly you Americans. Uruguay, Paraguay, Mexico in particular. I'll touch on Dubai too. I'm in Paraguay now. It's great. I'm so happy. By the way, I will talk about this probably on the next live stream we do over at my other channel. Saturday, before I got the news this happened, I made a decision about YouTube, my consumption of YouTube. Should I talk about this? I'll touch on this very quickly, and then I'll talk more about this maybe on other different live streams. This is kind of off topic. Hey, let me take a drink. On Saturday, before the news of this, so this event had nothing to do with this decision because this decision, I made this decision before this happened. I have made the decision, I'm going to implement it this week. I am no longer going to use YouTube as a browsing mechanism. I'm still going to watch YouTube videos, but I'm going to go to certain videos or certain channels purposely, watch the video, and then get off YouTube. I am no longer going to scroll or browse through YouTube ever again. I'm not going to do it. Again, collapsing culture. I'll tell you why. I watched something like 3 videos in a row on Saturday before all this happened. First video I watched was, what was it? Oh, a trailer for one of my favorite movies as a child. My favorite movie is my whole life. It was a movie called Time Bandits. Big, important 80s movie for kids. And I was a kid when I watched it. I watched it over and over again. A big, important movie for me. And they're rebooting it, of course. And they're destroying it, of course. There's no midgets or little people, whatever you're supposed to call them. What? The leader is Lisa Kudrow. I watched about 30 seconds, like, oh my God, this is awful. And like a car wreck, I kept watching the rest, like 2 or 3 minutes. It's awful. It's not funny. It doesn't make any sense. It's woke as fuck. And I had this sick feeling in my stomach after I watched it. I'm like, again, you're going to destroy more shit for my child? Again. Okay. Then I watched another video. One right after that was, I don't know why I got on my feed, a clip from The View. And I just moved into this apartment, so I was moving and doing stuff around. So it kept playing several View videos. You want to talk about insane left-wingers? Watch several clips of The View. Those women, the way they were defending Biden, Biden's a great man with a great record to run on. Biden had to quit one of his presidential runs because he was plagiarizing so many people. He's a liar, and he's a documented plagiarizer. You know, Trump, he's against women. Biden allegedly slammed a woman up against a wall and rammed one of his fingers up her pussy. I suggest you look it up. What the fuck? And they just go on and on. I'm like, oh my God, these woke psycho. And again, I got this sick feeling. This is a significant percentage of the country. Matter of fact, most people in the country lean left, including Trump supporters, as I show my blogs. Then I'm objective. I'm equal opportunity basher here. Then I saw another one, which was Ben Shapiro. And it was, what's that guy who, talk about liar? Dave Rubin, the most dishonest person on the right, in my view. He's talking about this clip from Ben Shapiro was in front of Congress, and Ben Shapiro kicked this congressman's ass. Watch, everybody. Ben Shapiro kicked this congressman's ass. And this congressman, I'm going to butcher it, I'm not quoting this exactly. Congressman said, are you against gay marriage? And Ben Shapiro did what all right-wing tradcons do. You wouldn't want to answer the question because they never want to answer questions about Jesus or gay people. They're very strong and confident when we talk about feminists and woke people and transgender shit. But when they talk about gay people or Jesus, can we talk about something else? So Ben Shapiro said the standard bullshit answer. He said, well, how much time do we have? Ben, it's a yes or no answer. Are you for or against gay marriage? 2 men getting married. Hello? It's very simple. Same thing when Sam Harris asked Jordan Peterson, another guy many of you worship, do you think Jesus actually raised from the dead? He was dead for 3 days and then resurrected and walked out of the cave. Do you really actually believe that, Jordan Peterson? And Jordan Peterson said it would take 40 hours to answer that question. You're a disingenuous liar. Can you imagine anyone asking me any of my opinions, my controversy? Say, well, I would depend on if it would do 40. How much time do I would say yes or no. Yes or no, Jordan. So again, I got this other sick video. So I finally at least 3 videos in a row of the psycho culture, the psycho left, and the psycho Trump supporters. I'm like, you know what? YouTube is toxic as a browsing mechanism. Well, Caleb, you're on YouTube. I didn't say I'm not going to watch YouTube. There's certain individual people or certain isolated pieces of content that I will watch on YouTube. And I'm going to install a bunch of apps on my phone and my computers to block the feed and put a bunch of other things in my life. I haven't implemented this. I'll implement it this week. A little busy week this week because a lot of people are here in Paraguay for our Paraguay events this week. And I'm not going to browse YouTube anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to browse Instagram anymore. I don't really browse Instagram, to be honest. The only thing I browse is YouTube. Is that true? Yeah. Because this is toxic. This is pulling me away from my mission. While most of you were screaming about Trump and Biden this weekend, I was working on my mission. Build your own location-independent business. Get location-independent. So when things like this happen, and they're going to happen more and more and more and more, and they're going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, Americans, Canadians, Europeans, Australians, New Zealanders, when these things happen, you won't give a fuck. I didn't give a shit on Saturday. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm shocked. Oh, I'm so shocked. I was like, he stuck his fist in the air. He's awesome. Like, oh, damn it, he missed. I didn't care. Still don't care. I don't want to talk about it today, but everyone's talking about it. Some of you have already sent me emails. Caleb, you're going to talk about this. Okay, fine. I'll talk about it for 15 minutes. That's it. If you have a life that is structured where it's location dependent, These things don't matter. They don't bother you. They become almost kind of entertaining. This is almost like entertainment to me. Not quite. It's like depressing entertainment. This is the same category as that fucking that Time Bandits trailer I saw. God damn. You know, it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. I'm in Paraguay. Do we have these problems in Paraguay? Do we have any of these problems in Paraguay? Nope. 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 They don't care. The vast majority of Paraguayans do not give a fuck about politics. I'm going to be here till October. I'm so happy because I was in London, Scotland, Portland, Oregon, Scottsdale, Arizona, and now I'm finally here in my home in Paraguay. Then I go back to Dubai in October. Do we have any of these problems in Dubai? No, because it's not a democracy. Democracies suck ass, as I will discuss in more detail in the next Unchained CEO live stream next week. And as I've talked about my blogs before. So there's a very simple solution to this, and it's not voting for Trump or voting for Biden / whoever the Democrat elites tell you to vote for, you morons. It's instead to get location dependent, to build a more free lifestyle. That doesn't matter. Then you can involve yourself in this stuff if you want to. There's a lot of people who are really freaking out right now. And a lot of people who are wealthy business owners, who are Americans living in America, location dependent incomes. I don't give a fuck. And it's going to get worse, as I've been saying for about 6 years. It's going to get worse and worse. When will you make the decision to take action on these things? When will you do it? Here's the biggest tragedy of this. If Trump wins re-election in November, a hell of a lot of you psycho Trumpers are going to think either consciously or subconsciously, oh, good, everything's good now. Now I don't have to worry about setting up, I don't have to worry about leaving the United States. Yeah, Trump will take care of everything. That's the tragedy of this. When Biden was elected president, the amount of money I made, Andrew Henderson and I were both talking about this. The amount of money Andrew made and I made from people going, oh my God, now America's fucked. Oh, now America was fine prior to, January of 2020 or whatever that date was. Everything was fine. But now the Biden, oh, now America's fucked. And so millions of Trump idiots said, oh, now I need to leave. And the inverse happens if Trump's going to be elected. Oh, now everything's fine. By the way, the left did this too. Jimmy Dore has talked about this. The left was under the opinion everything in America was perfect prior to 2017. But then Trump came along and now America's a problem. What? America's been collapsing since around 2003. So that's the tragedy. Some of you guys, if Trump wins, and he might, if they don't kill him or they don't run Michelle Obama, or there's a lot of ifs there, but he might. You're going to go, oh, good, because you're insane. I could make the argument that the collapse will happen faster under Trump. Trump is the biggest big government president, not just in American history, but in U.S. history, including before the pandemic. Look at my blogs of the things Trump was doing, the trillions of dollars he was spending out of thin air before the pandemic started. He is a massive emperor-like big government figure who loves massive government on a mass scale, which is exactly the opposite of what you need to do to save your United States, which I covered on the last podcast. But a lot of you Trump supporters don't care because you've lost your mind. So that's it. Cover some of your questions before Billy comes on here. How are we doing on time? We're good. Let's see. Based on what you've seen the last few weeks, do you think the complete collapse that you have been warning about is literally right around the corner, or is it still in our lifetimes? There's no way of answering that question. It's either around the corner or it's in your lifetime. Either way, get to work. That is a silly question to ask, as I've talked about. Well, when do you think the collapse is happening? Oh, 10 years? Okay, I'll sit on my ass for another 5 years. Then no, get to work now. You should at least have an international backup plan right now. I didn't say to them leave the country tomorrow morning. You need to have an international backup plan, which we will talk about today. Another country where you have legal residency, money in that bank with a debit card, and you know the lay of the land, like here in Paraguay, Uruguay, Mexico, Armenia, Dubai. You have so many fucking options. Countries we don't talk about, like Philippines. You have so many options. You need at least to have that now, and if you don't have it now, you are already behind schedule, which is what I told the Europeans several years ago. several years ago, I said, if you're living in Germany now, you're already behind schedule. Stop looking for excuses to wait. You fucking morons. Stop. I got out in 2021. I've been out for 3 years. Trump, along with Biden, Obama, Bush, is a war criminal responsible for the deaths of many innocent civilians. What the fuck do you mean he's nothing like Hitler? All right, let me modify what I said. Nothing even, he wasn't any more Hitler-like than Obama was. You're right. Trump increased Obama's drone strikes by about 300%. You're right. That picture with Trump's fist in the air with the American flag in the background was badass, though. You are an exact example of the psycho Trump supporter. You're the exact example I'm talking about. There is no hope for you. You're lucky to be out. You're lucky to be out of here. I am not lucky to be out of here. I took action to be out of here, which you can too. It is not luck. 50% of all my content is geared to help you get out of there too. I'm not lucky. I took action and you haven't. Let's see here. Any more quick questions? Hi, Billy. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and see me. Cool. All right, I'll be on a second. Let me finish these questions here. So you're surprised this happened. I'm not. Oh, so you're not surprised that? Correct, I'm not. This is going to get much worse. The wall will become higher. There is no wall. Trump never built it because he lied to you. What business opportunities there in Paraguay? Let's discuss that when Billy comes on. So I'm trying to get to the Trump questions, and we'll shift topics to Uruguay, Paraguay, some other stuff. Some of you Trump supporters are insane. I see you guys in the comments. I feel sorry for you. Apart from this location-dependent stuff, whether physical businesses can be do. Okay, we'll come back to you. You guys asking questions about business or Paraguay, I'll keep in there for when Billy comes on. I'm trying to get through all the Trump Biden questions. Caleb, you have a good sense of humor. I'm driving now, listening to this live stream. I can't stop laughing. Hope you don't miss a red light. Good. Okay. Let's bring on Billy. Are you ready? Okay, hang on. I'm going to bring on Billy, who is also in Paraguay. She's like right down the street. Aren't you like right down the street?
I'm like a mile and a half away from you. But
yeah, that's right.
I wasn't feeling very well, so I was being a wuss, and that's why I'm at my apartment instead of yours today.
Well, you've been traveling. I was able to kind of take a rest for the last day or two. Did you fly? When did you fly in from Uruguay yesterday?
Well, I got to the airport at 6 in the morning for a 9:05 flight that didn't leave until 2 in the afternoon. So I got here around 4.
Welcome to Latin America.
It's the first time, and in all honesty, there was terrible fog in Montevideo. So even as we drove to the airport, the fog was such that traffic was just crawling. We had to have the flashers on. So
okay, all right.
It was understandable. The plane had to divert to Sao Paulo and then come back down.
Oh, got it. Okay. So you already know about this. You in the audience, what I had to do is I had to go from Phoenix all the way to Asuncion, Paraguay. So I had to go from Phoenix to Houston, Texas, to Panama City, to Asuncion. Well, Houston, Texas, those of you who are aware of what happened last week, there was a hurricane in Houston, Texas. So I was able to, they canceled my flight, moved it. I was able to get a flight out, and the entire city was down. Most of the city had no power. None of the hotels were open. There were no Airbnbs. So I literally had to sit at the airport and spend the night, quote unquote, at the airport, staring at a wall, trying not to fall asleep. In addition to having a red-eye flight the next day going out from Paraguay. So it's been kind of a mess. So welcome to travel.
Yeah,
we sacrifice for our art.
The unfortunate truth for me is that I landed in Montevideo on my birthday last week. And I met up with a client down there who's an amazing person, I learned. I already thought he was pretty great, but amazing. He set up dinner at a lovely restaurant, like the best restaurant in the neighborhood, had a beautiful gift on the table, and I ate about 4 bites of my dinner and instantly got sick, like covered in sweat, and spent the whole time sick.
Why? Food poisoning or sick?
I'm still not sure. Probably, I think it was food poisoning because I was just shaking and sweating for about 3 days until the fever broke. And
Oh,
today is the
shit.
first, like last night's the first time I've eaten anything. So
So
it
were you
was
able
kind
to
of,
enjoy Uruguay? So those of you who don't know, Billy was in Uruguay for the last 3-4 days. So were you able to enjoy Uruguay at all or not really?
um,
God damn it.
no.
God
I mean,
damn
I
it.
did enjoy,
We gotta go
we
back.
had
We gotta go.
the
I had to
client,
cancel.
the client was awesome. I
Okay.
am
Good.
so amazed. He was very
Good.
thoughtful and he was kind enough to like bring me things and ask if he could take, I mean, just, I didn't expect it. Couldn't have asked for a better traveling companion, but I owe him one. So.
Do you want to? We have some topics. I want to address some of the questions that they're asking already. But before that, do you want to give a quick report or breakdown of Uruguay? Or do you want to save that for when you were more functional next time we go?
I don't have a huge amount to say about Uruguay, simply because all I saw was on arrival, I walked around and went to the shopping mall with the client, and then we went to this lovely restaurant, and then I went back to my hotel, and the only time I ever left again was to go to one legal appointment and then to go to the airport. So
Is that with
unfortunately,
attorneys?
my report is lousy.
Okay, that's fine. Is that with one of the attorneys that we're looking at? Or
Yes.
someone else?
Yeah, oh yes. It was
Okay.
my top choice of attorneys. So I did hold on to that appointment and got that taken care of.
Can you and I talk about that publicly right now, or should we talk about that offline first before we talk about that publicly?
Let's talk about it offline first, just as there are some details that you and I will have to discuss.
So what we're working on, guys, is a get residency in Uruguay, although Uruguay is different because, and Billy, you can correct me, Uruguay requires you to stay in Uruguay for most of the year to solidify your residency, correct, Billy?
Correct. So when you apply, unlike in other countries, there's apparently just one person who does these approvals, and it can take between 9 and 18 months to get your residency approved. They want you to remain in the country during that time. If you leave for more, if you leave for more than a month or two, they don't think you're serious about your residency because they do expect the residents to plan on living in the country.
So they give you some sort of visa that allows you to stay there for a year while you're waiting for the residency?
Yes, you apply for your regular visa upon landing, and then you can extend the visa. And then once you get your visa or your residency process started, they transition it to a residency visa. So it's a little bit more complicated than other countries. Yes, it can take up to a year and a half.
And during that year, 9 to 18 months, you need to be there minus. Well, I think what you were telling me was you're allowed to leave there up to 2 or 3-ish months, but if you want to be serious, you should minimize it, right? There's no set number.
Right. That's the legal advice, is to minimize it as much as humanly possible, because if you're gone for more than 3 months, they are probably going to throw that application out.
Got it. So the way Uruguay residency would work is it would not work necessarily for you guys. It would not work as a backup plan necessarily, but if you knew you liked it. So now here's the thing about Uruguay is all the benefits of Paraguay, but several notches up the infrastructure ladder. It's much more similar to a place like Mexico. Matter of fact, it's even beyond Mexico in some aspects. It's got full infrastructure. It's got beaches. It's got a lot more money. It's not as rough as Paraguay. It's further down the economic scale as Paraguay. Plus, the banks are much more solid there. It's Paraguay, but stronger. Now, the disadvantage of that
it's also much more expensive.
I was just going to say that, right? A little more expensive.
Significantly.
Than the U.S., though, right?
It's still cheaper. I think they said it was about 60% the cost of living in the U.S., whereas Paraguay is about 25%.
Correct. It's so it's not as cheap as Paraguay, but there's many of you. Actually, this isn't most of you, but there's a percentage of you where I show videos of Paraguay and you go, that's a little rough. And I'm okay, great. So if you still want Latin America and all the benefits of Latin America, Uruguay's your answer, because Uruguay's awesome. And you have beach. You know, something Paraguay doesn't have. Paraguay doesn't have beaches. We have rivers and lakes. We don't have a beach because it's landlocked. Now, that's one of the advantages of the country, in my view. But anyway, plus Uruguay has been called the Switzerland of Latin America. It's very stable. It's probably the most, I'm thinking this through before I say it. Yeah, I would say that Uruguay is the most stable country in all Latin America. Economically, I mean, it's nothing like Argentina, Brazil, even though it's right between these two crazy countries. So that's kind of the bottom line of Uruguay. So what you would do at Uruguay is, at some point we'll have a get to know Uruguay. Just so we have a get to know Paraguay, which is doing this week. We'll have a get to know Uruguay. Come down with us, hang out at Montevideo, and we should also take people to Punta del Este, which is their beach town. Yeah, which is only like an hour and a half away. So do both those, see if you like it. And then if you like it and you really want to spend most of the year there or live there, then you get residency. So it's like a two-step process. Rather than the residencies we talk about, Armenia, Dubai, Mexico, Paraguay, you don't need to stay there. You could go there, do a few things, and you get your residency, you leave. That's it. So that's the advantage of Paraguay versus over Uruguay. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you want just a pure backup plan, you don't want to leave the collapsing USA yet, why not? But okay, then fine, you come down to Paraguay or Mexico, Armenia, Dubai. You fill out the forms, you do our stuff, and we're doing another residency thing this week, and then you can leave and you got your residency and you're good to go. You do have to come back to every once in a while to make sure it's you have to renew it. But with Paraguay, if you renew your residency after it's either 1 or 2 years, Billy, I don't know if you know the answer. 1 or 2 years, it becomes permanent. 2?
2.
2. You get permanent residency, and permanent residency in Paraguay, unlike most countries, lasts like 8 or 9 years. That's what I've got.
10.
8 years.
I think it's 10.
Okay. It might be 10. I remember it's 8 or 9. Okay, so it's 10. 10 years. Most countries that say, here's your permanent residency, it's 4 years or 5 years or 6. You got to go back and renew it. Whereas, like Paraguay, it's 10 years. Mexico is forever. Mexico is actually real permanent, right?
Yes.
Mexico's forever. Yes.
It's real.
Right. Because even in Dubai, permanent is like 4 years. Armenia is, I forget what Armenia is, 6 years. So it's a few years. So in other words, in Paraguay, once you get your permit in Paraguay, you're done. You're locked in for the next 10 years. You don't have to keep coming here. You should, I think. That's just my opinion. But yeah. Let me see.
So there's a question in the chat, Caleb, asking if the cost of living in Uruguay is higher than Mexico. They're very similar.
Yeah. So here's the thing about that. Good question. Mexico is rising economically very quickly for various factors I've mentioned on this channel. And so the good news is Mexico's getting better. Bad news is Mexico's getting less cheap. So you're going to see Mexico get higher and higher in terms of cost. So Billy is right. I would imagine that Mexico and Uruguay are about the same. And then soon Mexico will be more expensive than Uruguay, probably.
Especially given the proximity to the United States. And with the things happening now, there are a lot of people who are going to want to get the hell out. And Mexico is a very easy place to go.
Right. I'm going to scroll the questions up. We have some questions already before you came on. I want to address those. Hang on a second. I got to filter through. I'll put up the screen. Can you see that, Billy?
Yes.
I've been grinding in my freelance copywriting business for the past year, reaching 120,000. Cool. The work is taking over my life. How can I tell my business is stable enough to cut back to 30 hours a week? You want to answer that?
Well, dark side to Phil. Do you have the funds to hire someone to work for you? That's your answer, in my opinion. I wouldn't scale back the business. I would scale back the work that you do within the business. So you work on the business as the CEO, and other people work in the business, meaning that you're not producing all of the copy. You have staff who works at a lower rate who does it for you. You can always tweak
if you're making,
but that would be what I would do.
Yeah, and if you're making 120, you can afford to hire someone cheap. You can do it. That's about when you should start looking at doing that stuff anyway. Or at a bare minimum, you should hire someone at 120. If you're doing 120K, I don't know if that's gross or net. I imagine it's probably gross. But if it's copyright, that's going to be pretty close to your net, right? You should hire an admin person to take over your email, your scheduling, your website garbage, your bookkeeping. So you're only doing copywriting. Now, the next thing I would throw in there is you are not AI resistant. If you are a copywriter, this is any of you, because I know there's a few of you. If you are a copywriter and that's primarily all you do, now there are some marketing companies, I work with a few of them, where they do copywriting, but they do 6 other things. That's fine. But if you primarily do copywriting, you got a big target on your head that says AI on it. So you need to start thinking about pivoting to something else in the marketing realm. And it can be one of many things.
And definitely start leveraging AI in your own practice, even if it's not something that you're warm to and you prefer not to. It is the way of the future. And I think jumping on that sooner than later and understanding how to make it work for you and for your specific needs is a really valuable step.
Caleb and Billy, what business opportunities are there in Paraguay since minimum wage is low and the Guarani currency is basically worthless to US dollars? It's not worthless. Excuse me.
Well, it's worth 5 cents a dollar.
Yeah, man. Shut up. What physical business is possible? Let me say one thing. I'll let Billy answer. I'll leave it on the screen. I don't recommend you have a physical business unless you're doing something unusual. I recommend you're location dependent. Now, if you're doing something, if you're 100% location dependent and you're going to start a second business in Paraguay for certain other 5 flag reasons, which I'm looking at doing and Billy is too, that's different. So I hope that's your intention. Instead of, I want to move to Paraguay and start a business, that's not location dependent. You want location dependence first, 100% first, then you look at something physical. Ben, what do you think?
I agree 100%. I don't want you to get a job in Paraguay. I don't want you to think of a physical business here because there are a lot of expenses tied to that. Your business auntie wants you to get started on a tight budget. I don't want you throwing money away. So I would definitely look for location independent opportunities and start up your business before you move down, exactly as Caleb has said.
That's a continuation of this question. Yes, they barely speak English, but again, we are kind of answer that question. It's not, that should not be a focus. Yeah.
They're not our ideal client avatar. We don't want people who don't have a budget to afford whatever it is that we're selling. So the local people are never going to really be a good avatar.
Yeah, what I've talked about before is for people who live in lower end countries, sell to people who have money, who are used to spending a lot of money on their lifestyle, like people in London and New York and San Francisco and Tokyo. You don't want to design a business unless you're doing something very creative and difficult, which I don't recommend. You don't want to design a business that relies upon lower income people from lower income countries. So the last thing I would ever say to you is go start a business in Paraguay selling to Paraguayans who make $300 a month, and that's a lot of money here. That's not a good idea. Yeah. Matter of fact, that's a lot of money. $300-400 a month is like, wow, really? I'm not kidding. $300 to $400 US equivalent a month here is like a decent, like, ooh, wow, you have a good job.
That is, I'm successful enough to move out of my parents' houses in my 20s and get my own flat, which is really something that's new in this country in the last 10 or 15 years.
Huge. Right. There's also cultural things. They live together in their big families and things like that. So, yeah. I'm 19 years old and kind of fucked. My life situation is really complex for me to explain all here. I need to stay 3 more years in Europe and Netherlands before I leave. Is that okay? You don't need to. Well, 19. No, you don't need to. You're full of shit. You don't need to. You want to. And it's scary.
We have some great friends. In fact, Caleb is going to be meeting them in the next couple of days. A gentleman called Lester Rietveld, who is Dutch, and he helps other people get their residency here. He and his wife and fiance and their 2 dogs moved over a couple of months ago. So we do have European friends who've gone through these experiences as well, and we can help put you in touch with those people to answer these very specific questions. But if you can find a way out earlier, of course, leave earlier. If there's a reason, if you're from a country that has mandatory military service, for example, great, right? You can't necessarily get out of that. But if that's not the case, I think it's worth finding a way at this point. And I feel that very firmly for myself.
I forgot about mandatory military service. So I don't know I don't know if the Netherlands has that. I don't think so. But
I don't either.
I don't know, but all right. That's okay. There's one exception, maybe. Other than that, you don't need to. And the reason is when you say, well, it's complicated, I don't want to talk about it, because you know what I'm going to say. If you talk about it, I'm going to say it's bullshit. That's a common thing. Well, why aren't you doing this? Well, Caleb, it's complicated. Yeah. Mr. Excuses. Right.
Ooh. Kava, this is a great question. He's a retired principal, on board with leaving, but looking for a social circle. It's actually a little bit easy to develop a social circle here because there are a lot of different expat meetups and various groups. So there's always something happening. I've also made, I don't make new friends easily. I'm kind of awkward and I don't really extend myself that way. But even I've made a bunch of local friends already. It's truly not that hard. And we have a lot of people in our circle too that have, Kevin Van Horn is a great example. He came for his residency last year and basically immediately moved down from the US. So he's here. And has developed his social circle. We have a bunch of other friends in the alpha male 2.0 world who come and go between Paraguay. It's one of their flags. So just in our own circle, we have quite a few people that we can make introductions to, but those expat groups are active and they're very easy to become part of.
Two things. One is you, Billie, made a social circle really fast down here. I mean, like the first time you were down here, you were meeting people and you already had a network like within a few weeks. So, and Billie, do you speak Spanish?
Oh, God, no. You guys.
Right.
I've been using Duolingo for a year since my first trip down here. All I can say still is like, yo como manzanas, which means I eat apples.
Right.
I mean, I still don't have any Spanish at all, and I do just fine. Often I do have to use Google Translate, but people are open to it because it's fun to communicate with someone from a different country and they're interested in us. I've never yet come across a person who is irritated or rude. No, definitely not.
Paraguay, they like foreigners. They like English speakers, not just Westerners. They like everybody. There's a lot of Koreans down here. They love them. They like foreigners. They're super polite and happy. They take an interest in foreigners. It's one of the friendliest countries I've ever visited in my life, and I've been all over the world.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really
they don't have much of a tourist economy, so they appreciate those who do come.
It's a very good point. I saw an analysis on Paraguay a while back, and he was talking about the things I've talked about. And Paraguay is the opposite of a tourist trap because it's hard to get to. It's a landlocked country. There are no beaches. There's nothing. There's no Las Vegas or exciting shit here. So that's why it's good. And that's why it's a stable, hidden gem and will be for the next 50, 60 years. That's why it's a safe place. That's why it's a good,
very green. It is a very green country. And that is probably my favorite thing. It was a relief after Montevideo to come back here and see all the trees and just have that feeling of restfulness that I didn't feel in a concrete jungle.
That's how I feel when I fly into Asuncion after being in Dubai or Scottsdale, both of which are deserts. I'm like, nice. Right. Because I'm used to, you and I are both used to trees because of where we grew up. Mm-hmm. So we both grew up in tree areas. The second thing too is when you're part of our services, when you join any of our programs, Billie is very good at this. She plugs you into the network of people we already have, people who already live here, people who are based here, or people who spend half the year here. So, and then also, we can't talk about this publicly yet. We're going to make some very big changes that are going to be very positive for you guys in terms of our events, our Get Residency events in the next few weeks. We'll announce those down the road when these are done. But
you'll like it.
You'll like it a lot, actually. You'll like it a lot. And part of that is this social aspect, which Billie is much better at than I am, even though she says she's awkward, but she's very good at organizing these networking things. So if you're part of our ecosystem and you come down here and you're part of whatever we're doing, don't worry. Billie will help you plug in. You'll have a social circle very quickly. You'll hit the ground running. So it's not a big deal. Good question.
Yeah, no chance. And a good example of that is tomorrow night, guys, we're going out to dinner with Caleb is coming. We have 6 people down on the trip with us. And a group of 14 various people, Dutch and American, Ukrainian, expats, and some locals, all of whom are entrepreneurs who are going to be meeting us for dinner. So that's just how we roll.
Yeah, we got a lot going on this week. I make $120K as a software engineer in a low-cost living province in Canada. Okay. Is 9A business builder for me? My goal isn't to make $85K. My goal is to become a millionaire, irregardless of the time it takes. 9A business builder is designed exactly for you. It is designed exactly for those of you who have a salary job you have a decent job, but you hate it, you want to make more money and be more free, and you never started a business before, you are an exact candidate for the 90-day business book. Irrelevant of how much money you want to make. So the reason I talk about this is I don't say, you make $10 million, man. I'm not Grant Cardone. Before you make millions of dollars, you need to make 85,000 first. And then if you are a hardcore guy like I am, you won't be at 85,000 very long. You'll go right to 100,000, 112,000, 150,000, 250K, and so on, like Billie and I both have. So, but you still get started, right? So 90-day business builder is not the rest of your life. It's 90 days. You take that foundation, build whatever you want.
And it's a process. What you're learning in the 90-day business builder, yes, you will come out of it with a business. But what you're actually learning is an easily replicable process, meaning that you start your first business and your second and your third, because once you've gone through the process and understand it, it's unlimited. You can do whatever you want. There are many different avenues you can go down. And we do believe in having multiple income streams as well. So I think that's the biggest value in the program is learning the process. The business is just a side effect.
Yeah,
and a darn good one.
I have several podcasts and streams and videos on this channel, this YouTube channel, about those who want to make more than 500K a year. You should go watch those. There's a percentage of our audience that wants to make the big money. Awesome, I love you, because I'm in that category. And there's a larger percentage that just wants 85K a year, 100K a year, 90K a year, 50K a year, low patient dependent, and relax. We cater to both. We're not here to tell you what your goals should be. Over at Alpha 2.0, I do tell you what your goals should be. But here at Unchained CEO, 85,000 a year-ish, location dependent, and then you decide if you want to go past that or not. So but
we do want everyone to have that baseline, because we find that a very healthy number.
You have to have that baseline first, right? You want to answer that one?
Oh, cedula is super easy. You get your temporary residency. You pay an extra, I think it's $1,000, and you apply for your cedula, and you usually get it within a few days. Super easy.
You want to describe what a cedula is?
Oh, I'm sorry. Cedula is your national ID card, and that is what allows you to open a banking account, rent an apartment, etc. So you can buy property without it, but renting without it is not a viable option.
So the way Paraguay works is that, this is unique to Paraguay, is a few countries like this, but the ones that we represent, we don't represent Paraguay, we use Paraguay, but you get residency, and they give you legal residency, but you don't have a national ID card. So you're a resident. So the American equivalent of your Americans would be, you have a social security card, so you are a resident, but you don't have a passport or you don't have a driver's license. So the cedula is another step, optionally, where you get the national ID card on top of your residency. And Billy's right. You don't need a cedula, but if you're going to do anything real in Paraguay, like rent an apartment, open a bank account, start a corporation, any of that stuff, you want to say. If you're just doing it as a plan B and that's it, and you don't give a shit about, then fine. A few of you are talking about the thing I said about YouTube, about you block political content or you block political channels. That's not good enough for what I want to do, because as I talked about that Time Bandits video, that wasn't on a political channel. It came right in. Politics has infested all of American culture now. So that's not good enough. I'm not going to keep scrolling to YouTube and block certain channels. I'm going to go to YouTube for targeted specific videos and channels, watch those, and then leave. I'm never browsing again. Not yet. I'm going to figure this out by the end of the week. But I understand you guys' point, but I'm more hardcore than, I did that too. I blocked all the political channels off my YouTube several years ago. But that Dave Rubin thing came in. I don't know how that came in. I guess I didn't block him. I don't know. Let's see. You want to answer that one?
Yep. I mean, that's my honest answer is yes, if you stick to the program.
Oh, read the question.
I'm sorry. Just bought the 90-day business builder. Do you think it's realistic for me to replace my 9-to-5 income within 3 to 4 months? I make about $120,000 a year. My answer to that is yes. I would probably project 6 months to be safe. Give yourself a cushion. The key to your success in the business builder is honestly going to be following the process. So, Will, I don't know you personally, but a lot of people come into the program with an idea of something they might want to offer. that can often be problematic because a lot of the businesses people come to us with are frankly just hard to get going. A good example would be a lot of people come in wanting to do business to consumer sales of something. It's much, much harder to find, a 40-year-old accountant that has dandruff and to market your solution to him than it is to reach out to a bunch of accounting firms and find out what problems and what inefficiencies they have in their practice. Because all we're looking to do when we start a business is solve a problem for someone else.
Right.
If that problem is clearly defined and the group of people is easy to reach, you have set yourself up for success. If the group is challenging to reach and you're going to have to throw a hell of a lot of money and time at advertising to get individual consumers, then it's not likely you're going to achieve that goal in 3 or 4 months. That's going to take a year or two minimum. It is much harder to build a business to consumer model. So please keep that in mind. And I noticed, Will, that you did ask earlier about consuming the different materials in the business builder before you get started. Absolutely. There are a bunch of kickoff videos that Caleb has created. Absolutely watch those. Yep, they're required, so get started. You will serve yourself very well.
Especially the niche brainstorming video. That's a required exercise before your first live session. So do that, yes. For the record, we have had a few people, not a hell of a lot of people, I'm being honest with you, but we've had a few people get several multi-$1,000 clients well under 3 to 4 months in the program. We've had several people. However, they did it. They did what we told them. And a recurring theme of the program is, if you do what we tell you, you'll probably make money. The vast majority of people who don't make any money are the people who don't do any. They do something for a while, they leave, or they don't do it, or they fart around. So it's up to you, not us. We're there to take your...
Or they're stuck in the idea that we tell them it's going to be hard, or we ask them a question, how are you going to find those individuals? And they come back to us with, I don't know. You're setting yourself up for a disappointment. And we don't want that. So just listen to us and we'll get you there.
If you do, we open the door for you. You have to take your foot and step through the doorway. And we nudge you through the door, but we can't push you through the door. You got to take the step, but we open the door and we nudge you. That's our job. And all you got to do is take that step, and it's not that hard. It isn't, but anyway, so we could talk about that for an hour.
We could.
Billy, there's a question for you. And it's Billie. She's female, but that's all right. Not Billy.
You didn't call me Bobby, Michael, so we're friends. It depends on, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the LLC process.
I think he means the South
filing
Dakota.
For South Dakota. There are a bunch of parameters related to that. Whether you want to get residency there, whether you want to register your vehicles there, etc. So, Michael, you and I would have to talk about that offline for me to give you an accurate answer. But it is less, I think it's less than $2,500 for residency and LLC.
What website should he go to schedule a call with you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go to bosscooperative.com.
Okay. Is there a link there?
There is a link there.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Caleb, why did you decide to send the sniper for Trump as an ad for going overseas? I have not made any new ads. I don't know what you're talking about at all. This just happened. I have not made any new ads in the last 48 hours. I don't know what you're talking about. Regular Instagram ads like everyone else. I don't run Instagram ads. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have one's at my door. I'll be right back.
That's fine. This is scary though. How much is your passport info program cost? I don't know what program you mean. I have many programs. So you need to be more specific with which program. I don't have a passport specific program. We have residency programs. You can go to www.caleb.top/go, www.caleb.top/go, and that's all a residency program. So that would be Dubai, Paraguay, Armenia, and Mexico. The prices are different because all the countries are different.
You can also find that on Boss Cooperative. We have reciprocal links to Caleb's events.
Correct. Let's see here. I have inherited my folks' apartment in Florida. I was thinking of using it as part of my 5 Flags plan, but how likely is the U.S. government going to confiscate it? If so, should I sell it? Okay, the odds of the U.S. government confiscating your apartment are low. I would be more worried about if you have a 401k or IRA. Those are a little higher as the United States government gets worse and worse over time. I'm not saying they're a compensated thing. Here's my deal on this. This is my general answer. This real estate's complex, so I can't give you a specific answer. I'll give you a general answer. Billy, you have an answer too. If you want to own real estate in the United States, I would not own any real estate long term other than my own home, but then I'd leave. So I wouldn't own that either. I wouldn't own any real estate unless it was a reasonably large apartment building, Grant Cardone stuff. I would not own a single family property because no one's going to be able to afford it. I would not own commercial properties. We're going through a collapse right now of commercial property since COVID and since the takeover of things like Zoom. So the only thing I would own would be low cost units, large apartment buildings. If that's not an option for you, I would not worry about real estate in the United States, and I would look abroad for real estate like I'm doing. Here in Paraguay, South America, certainly Southeast Asia, but that's complicated. That's my answer. Do you have a thought on that or no?
My answer is the same.
Okay.
Unless you're living in a place like I do, if you're in Canada, Wisconsin, where I do, which is a very low, it's a very low cost of living state comparatively. Yeah. I think it's okay to hold onto a property, but in a market such as South Florida, you're talking about a lot of different taxes and fees, et cetera. I would divest myself of the property as well, and save that money for property elsewhere.
Yeah, and I'm not the only person who's said this. As the collapse continues in the United States is moving from a homeowner culture to an apartment culture. You will not be able, normal humans won't be able to buy. I mean, we're almost there now. Normal humans can't buy houses now. So it's going to get even worse. So the only way people can live will be these apartments. That's just part of the collapse. So what I wouldn't mind, if I were to own real estate in the United States, I'd be in apartments. I would not own real estate in the United States. I'd own it in Cambodia or Vietnam, and then I'd make $1 bazillion my money. But that's my generic answer. Billy, there's another question for you there. You see it?
So, what are the advantages of a South Dakota LLC versus a Wyoming LLC? Frankly, Nick, they're pretty similar in terms of the LLC itself. The difference comes in with the estate planning, particularly. So the taxes in South Dakota and the processes favor small business, and they also have some of the best inheritance laws in the country. So it will really help if you're working on estate planning and continuity planning. It's a really good option for storing your funds and keeping them safer than in the surrounding states. The other advantage of South Dakota is that if you get your residency in South Dakota and file your LLC there, you can register your vehicle in South Dakota as well. There are no emission tests in South Dakota, which for a lot of people is an issue. So that's one less thing to worry about. Additionally, your automobile insurance tends to go down for most people because it is such a sparsely populated state. Insurance rates are quite low.
Cool. What about permanent residency in Turkey? That's okay. I like the countries that we use because they're easier to get than Turkey, but I have no big objection to getting permanent residency in Turkey at all. I think it's fine. Using Turkey as a flag is fine depending on what you're doing. So I'm not sure if you're talking about living there or not, but I think it's fine. I like our countries better, but Turkey is fine. I have nothing against Turkey. Could I get Uruguayan residency, but go live in Rio, but still have tax advantages in Uruguay? I've heard some guys on Twitter doing this. Okay, I'll give you my answer, and Bill, you can chime in if you know. My understanding is, and I could be wrong, this is a question from one of our attorneys, frankly, is I am pretty sure that's illegal. And so my standard answer for anything illegal is I don't recommend it because I talked this over in Alpha Male 2.0. We want to follow the law because you want to have this thing in the back of your mind. What if someday someone checks and does this and I'm in trouble and they invalidate my residency and now I'm in trouble? I don't ever want to have you worry about that. So we only teach things that are 100% legal. I could be wrong about that, but I'm 85% sure what you're describing is illegal. I know people do it. I know a lot of that stuff is not enforced. I understand that. I understand there's people who get residency in Paraguay and they go right over to Sao Paulo and they just hang out there. I understand that. that doesn't mean I recommend it. It's because people are doing it. It goes back to my dad. Well, if everyone was jumping off a cliff, would you jump off a cliff too? It's one of those things. So that's my answer. You have an opinion, Billy, or no?
No, my opinion is the same. I'm not, I'm a fairly risk-averse person. So I tend to follow the rules for the most part. But the reality is, when you're setting up residency in a different country, you're a resident. You can still be a tourist, but I wouldn't count on living elsewhere.
Yeah.
Cover your ass, is what I'm saying. Just cover your ass. Ask a legal professional and make sure that you understand any potential repercussions.
We get a lot of questions about this. And so, Billy, you and I should talk about this later, but we should have what we will do is come up with a specific answer for if you have legal residency in Uruguay or Paraguay and you have your cedula, it allows you access to Mercosur countries. That's true. Without using a passport in many cases. You just walk across the border and just flash your cedula, or they don't even ask. But then the question is, how long can you stay there legally? Do you have to go back? What are the benefits and the limitations? We'll have an answer for that soon, because you're not the first person to ask that question. Because I do have guys who say, if I get cedula in Paraguay or Uruguay, can I go to Brazil and hang out there for 4 months? And I think the answer is yes, but I don't know. So we'll figure that out. So it's a good question. How much Spanish do you need to live in Paraguay or Uruguay? So I have my answer.
Zero. All you have to learn is how to use Google Translate or a similar app. That is it. We've had a guy from the Czech Republic, maybe he's watching. If he is, hey, coach, who dated 2 women on his first visit here. Didn't speak any Spanish. They didn't speak any English, and it worked out beautifully. So, and I've made friends. I'm able to talk to cab drivers, etc. People are happy to let you use the app. If you happen to know a little bit of Spanish, even better. But I don't, and I do okay.
I talked this many times. I have entire podcasts on this topic specifically. Do you need to speak Spanish to live in Paraguay or Uruguay? Now, Uruguay, definitely not. A lot of people speak English. A lot more people speak English in Uruguay, specifically Montevideo. That's much more common than Paraguay. Paraguay is much less common. I don't speak Spanish. I have closed deals in the Latin world without speaking any Spanish. I have dated multiple women, and I mean multiple, who didn't speak any English. It was perfectly fine, not a big deal. However, if you're going to live, if I was in Paraguay 12 months a year or most of the year, I would make an effort to speak some Spanish. And the model I use for this is my son, Josh, who was on a live stream a few weeks ago. So he lives in Mexico most of the year, and he has a Mexican girlfriend, the whole thing. And does he speak fluent Spanish? No, but he speaks a lot of Spanish. So he can navigate around, and he's never confused like Billie and I are, where people start talking to go, hang on, no Espanol. He doesn't have that problem. Now, can he carry on a fluent conversation in Spanish? No, he can't. So if I was spending most of the year here, I would make the effort to learn whatever you want to call it, basic functional bullshit Spanish, so you can navigate your life, especially in Paraguay. Uruguay is probably not necessary. And Buenos Aires is not necessary at all. But sure. Paraguay, that's what I would do if I lived here most of the year.
And that's why I've started learning myself. As I said, I didn't learn a lot, but I haven't been particularly studious about it. It comes and goes for me. And I also know a little German and a little French, so I substitute words from the wrong language. But it's, any words that you learn are worthwhile.
Let's pause the questions. I see more questions. Answer in a second. Do we want to talk about Mexico and Cancun?
Let's. And unfortunately, I have to get going fairly shortly because I get to take our cool group of dudes.
You take over. Do your thing, and I'll do your thing. If you need to leave, I'll handle the questions. Go ahead. I want to make sure.
Okay, sure. So we put together a pretty awesome event that's happening October 6th through the 12th down in Cancun. And unlike a residency trip, this is going to be an intensive deep dive into your business. Now, that can be one of two things. Number one, that you don't own a business yet, but you want to start one. Number two is that you own a business that needs some improvement.
So both.
This is going to, Exactly. So right now we have it structured with one of the fellows who I see in the chat, Jan, who is our beautiful, wonderful French salesman extraordinaire, Christy Lake, who is our mindfulness coach, myself, and Cliff Taylor, who's our tech and automation specialist, are all going to be at this particular event. We're staying at an all-inclusive resort on the ocean, which includes all of your meals, spirits, and beer, wine and spirits.
This is Cancun. Those who don't know Cancun, Cancun is one of the best places in the world to visit. I mean that literally. It's awesome.
It is super awesome. Our package is also going to include your flights from many cities across the U.S., Europe, and there are a couple of Asian cities as well that are included. So you'll find all of this at bosscooperative.com/events.
It includes,
there's an entire list of like 50 or 60 cities that your flights are included from those cities.
Okay, and so to be clear, this is your flight. Holy shit, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Holy shit. Okay, cool.
This is your flight. This is your lodging. This is 2 hours of scheduled group coaching a day. This is 4 hours per day of participant-led work on your projects with the coaches in attendance. And this includes coaches at all of your meals. And we're going to be doing some fun activities, including snorkeling in an underwater museum. And we're going to a really cool place called Explore Fuego. It is a really cool adventure park that you go through caves with stalactites and stalagmites, and you swim underwater, and you can go rafting, and there's zip lines.
Awesome.
We drove UTVs through the desert or through the jungle at night, and you actually get to drive into the cave. So if anyone has ever looked at the homepage of bosscooperative.com, that is me and a client at Explore Fuego underground in a UTV, having the best time of our lives. And the reason that we're adding all these activities and doing something fun like an all-inclusive is because I don't learn very well in a traditional seminar. And I know a lot of you in the audience don't either. So doing something that involves activity, it involves you actually working on something, to me, seems a more valuable offering than sitting and talking at you for a day.
Agree.
So, and as the event gets closer, our goal is to keep the event to a ratio of 1 coach for every 3 or 4 participants. So if we need to, we are going to add more coaches. I wasn't able to talk Caleb into it this time, but he's on the hook for next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because he wants to go to this park. The adventure park is just so cool.
Yeah. No, Cancun. So I've been to Cancun forever. Can you type the link into the chat? We'll put the link in the description of this video too. Can you do that real quick? And say again the dates. October.
It is going to be October 6th through the 12th of this year. You know what, Caleb? I cannot connect to comment because it is not connecting to my YouTube here.
That's fine.
So I will shoot it.
I'll do it. Cooperative.com/events.
Correct. And put the www in front because it doesn't always pick up.
I'm going to put the whole link. Hang on a sec.
Okay. Thanks for doing that. But really what we're interested in doing is curating something where you come home after a week of intensive work and you have something to show for it rather than a bunch of ideas. You have a bunch of actions that have taken place. And then we give you a follow-up plan to take home with you so that you can keep that energy and that rhythm going when you get home. And that's really the purpose. We'd love to see a bunch of you there. I know that Jan is very much looking forward to it. He's coming over from England. Cliff is coming down from Canada, and both Christy and I are coming from the US to make this the best week possible.
And those of you who, sorry, go ahead.
No, the other thing that's happening at the same time is get residency in Mexico. So for those of you who want to get residency, we're running that from the 7th until the 12th. No, that's not correct.
Almost.
I have to look.
Well, it's like consecutive dates. You can do, the point is you can do both programs, kind of like I did with Dubai last year and this year too. You can do both programs and then you could get your residency while doing the event, right?
Correct. Or you can just choose to go to one event or the other, but those options are there. And if you sign up for both, you get a discount as well. The exciting thing, let me share this because I think this will surprise a lot of the audience. I'm doing this event because I'm a selfish cow and I want to hang out with my business nieces and nephews and coaches and do some cool stuff together and get your businesses rolling and rocking. So to that end, if you sign up before September 20th, the cost is less than $5,000 US, including your flights, lodging, meals, everything for this retreat. So jump on it because the price absolutely will go up, but this is a financially friendly event by intent.
See, Billie is much nicer about pricing shit than I am, which is going to be a benefit to you guys shortly. So I'm going to repeat what you just said. So if you look at under 5,000 for several days in Cancun, plus which includes all your food and your lodging and your airfare and your coaching, and these are coaches. Some of these coaches are right out of Business Builder. Those who are in Business Builder or have been in Business Builder, that's the same coaches. Yeah. It's one of those things where you're dumb. If you want to go and you don't go, you're dumb. It doesn't make sense. Especially if you're in the United States or Canada, it's an easy flight. It's not like going to Dubai.
It is. And it's, it's easy. It really is easy to get in and out of Cancun. And it's a lovely, lovely place. So we'll have a good time.
God, I'm so jealous. When you're talking about the stalactite stuff, I have to,
cool.
I couldn't make it worth my schedule this year, but we're gonna plan out the next schedule for the next 18 months. So we'll figure that out. Awesome. Okay. Well, and also I'm pretty sure if you go to calebjones.com/events, we have a link for this also. But go to bosscooperative.com. Yeah, we have links in both places. What else before you need to go? Is that it?
I think that's all I have for today, guys. I'm just going to go and do some awesome things with all of my business nephews that are here waiting. And then we'll hang out. We're going to hang out. Yeah, I'm Auntie Billie. So
we got stuff all week this week. And again, I'm going to say this really quick. Billie is a high income earner. Those you want to make more than 500,000, that's what Billie's making. She makes high six figures. She's involved in 9 different companies, right? 9?
Yes, currently.
Or have you reduced it again? You still at 9?
No, I didn't reduce it again. We're staying at 9 for right now.
She was at 11 companies. I own 2.5, sort of. She had 11. She's down to 9. So she can help you make a lot of money. That's why she's here with me, because she knows her shit.
And cool. Coach Jan is another high flyer. I don't know if you guys can see the notes, but he said he charges $25,000 for sales coaching. And he is damned good. I'm so impressed with him. I've learned a lot.
All these coaches are location-independent income earners. These are all people who live this lifestyle. All the stuff we do. Yes.
And we're all people that you've trusted to teach the Business Builder. So I think that's a pretty strong stamp of approval, and we're grateful for it.
Cool. All right, guys, I know you have to go.
I've got to go feed my nephews.
All right, so you got to see your nephews. Go ahead and hang up. Thank you very much for your time. You'll be back on, I think, in a few weeks. I'll stay on here and answer questions.
I'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, you guys. Let me see. Let me go back to your questions here. If there's any other topic that you wanted me to discuss in terms of Paraguay or anything in Latin America, throw that in the chat, and I'll address that. I have a little more time. Yeah, I have a little more time. Hang on a second. Let me go back to your questions and find out where we were. Hang on. Let's see. What's your process? I'm still looking. Hang on. And yes, I'll talk about Trump shit if you want. It's fine. I know Trump will convert the U.S. into a kingdom. No. Trump will preside over the collapse of the U.S. Let's see. Or the continuing collapse. Let's be boring. Caleb, if you bought 20 Bitcoin 10 years ago, what's the point of opening up businesses and all that shit? That's a question for you to answer. How much money do you need to be financially independent? How much money do you need if you put it away at 4% interest to pay you enough money to live the rest of your life? I don't know. Everyone has a different answer to that question. My answer to that question is very different than yours. So that's up to you. How much money do you need before you stop working? That's a question that is very individualized per person. And I will never stop working because I think the concept of retirement is stupid. But I will cut back in about 2 years. But I'm still going to work. I'm going to work till I'm 105, 125. I'll work a little bit. Mexico's top cities will get more expensive, but there are still at least a dozen second-tier cities with population around 1 million that will remain affordable for the medium term at least. Correct. That is true. The problem with that, you're right. Now, you're right. The problem with that is Americans are so jittery about Mexico because of bullshit societal program about, oh my God, the cartels will kill you and the cops will bribe you, that it's more difficult if you can't go to the cities that Americans have heard of, like Guadalajara, Mexico City, Cancun. They get nervous. But you are right. You're right. What is the safest job to protect yourself against AI and automation? Also, what do you guys think about recording in Panama, Malta, Singapore? When you say job, you shouldn't have a job. I assume you mean business. What am I doing here? I'm giving you niched information in person. So my companies, if AI will replace all of us, I will be the last guy standing. I'll be the last one replaced by AI. And I talk about this in some of my programs and my private stuff. Your goal with AI is to be the last group of people replaced by AI, not the first. So if you write content, if you're a copywriter or you're a legal researcher, you're going to be the first one replaced by AI. You want to be the last person replaced, if at all. What do you think about relocating to Panama? Panama is a good place to live. It's a little hot in the summertime. I was just there for my layover, but Panama's okay. Malta is fine. Singapore is wonderful, except it's hot year-round and it's very humid. Would having a business model where you hire managers, chatters, and subcontractors in the Philippines while you scale the business still qualify as an Alpha 2.0 business? Yes. You're not clear about what the business does, but yes, that sounds like it's Alpha 2.0 panel. Yeah. Is the kid in jail? I'm not sure you're referring to. What is your opinion on starting a location-dependent business? Any easy one just to get out of debt quickly, like DJing weddings? You're not going to get out of debt quickly by starting a business. I'm sorry, you're not. DJing weddings. Go get a client right now. Go get a DJ client right now in a week. Well, I can't. Yeah, then it's not quick, is it? So you might as well location-independent business. And getting clients by beating others' prices, quick and painless. If it was that easy, go do it. It's not that easy, huh? Get it fast. Can you get residency in Uruguay with a Paraguay residency? No. Two totally different things. Countries do not care what other residencies you have. No. I like Paraguay because it's Clark Kent, while parts of Thailand, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Brazil are super bad. Correct. Matter of fact, the analysis I was watching, the guy was comparing Paraguay to Thailand. I know everyone's going to go to Thailand, and a lot of eyes are on Thailand. No one's paying attention to Paraguay. I've said this many times. When America collapses, people in Paraguay aren't even going to notice a difference. If I was here right now and America collapsed this afternoon, I'd be fine. You all be fucked. I'd be fine. Haven't you been noticing a lot more Westerners down in Paraguay? I've heard a lot of people going down. I don't want to be surrounded by Westerners like Medellin. That will not happen. That will not happen. We talk about why that won't happen. Everyone has heard of Colombia. Everyone's heard of Medellin. Very few people bother with Paraguay. Number one. Number two, Medellin is a big place for guys to get laid. Is Paraguay a big place for guys to get laid? Is that kind of the thing on the internet? No. Number three, it's hard to fly to Paraguay. You just heard my nightmare story. It's hard to get here. It's a pain in the ass. Is it hard to fly to Colombia? No. Fly to Panama, you're there. Fly to Cancun, you're there. So that will not happen. Will there be an increase in Westerners here over time? Of course, but it'll be a very small percentage increase. So what? It's fine. Should I start planning on an exit 5-flag strategy even though I have young kids, 7 and 3? Yes. Yes, Francois. Yes. 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 Don't let your kids be an excuse. Unless you're not with baby mama anymore, that's different. But if you're with their mother, yes. 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 Many people have left the country with small kids. Is it harder? Yeah. It's a pain in the ass. You can do it. Yes. What's your opinion on the Philippines, Thailand, and Colombia? I like all three. I love the Philippines. I like Colombia a lot. Thailand, I think, is okay. Thailand is an acquired, it's for certain people. Certain people like Thailand, certain people, I don't like Thailand, but a lot of people do. I'd still say Argentina is a one-lifetime investment opportunity since Malay has flattened the inflation curve, but I know you disagree. I don't disagree with that. You could make money in Argentina. Sure. If that is a speculation, and you could lose, but you have to be very careful. But you could, sure. 120 days for tax residency for when you are not a U.S. 120 days for tax residency for when you are not a U.S. citizen and want to realize your profits from offshore assets. I don't understand your question. What country are you referring to? I talked to a Filipino guy on the phone last night who did women in the Philippines love American men, especially middle-aged guys. I have said many times, the easiest place for a man to get laid in the entire world is the Philippines. If you're a pathetic beta, even if you're fat, ugly, old, doesn't matter, go to the Philippines. Go to the Philippines for a week. You will get laid like a rock star. That is absolutely true. I've seen, there's no other country like it in the world in terms of that. There are a lot of places that are easier to get laid than the West, but the Philippines is on a whole different level. Absolutely. Let's see here. Do you know any traders, swing options that have gotten their residency in the UAE? Yes, many. It's setting up a company required to get residency. The way I recommend you do it, yes. There are other weird ways of doing it that are tricky. You can hire a service that hires you as an employee, and then they give you money, and you got to put it back in every month to show a payroll, and it's a mess, and they can fire you at any time. So technically no, but in reality, yes. Get your own company, then you're solid, you're good to go. What's your opinion on taking out a loan to buy property in a foreign country from a rich foreigner in a large communist country like East Asia, since getting mortgage like that is near impossible? I have no idea how you would pull that off. Good luck getting a mortgage loan from an American company to buy something in Vietnam. I have no idea how you pull it off. What country should we incorporate in for the new location-dependent business? The destination in countries is covered in the 90-day business builder. No Five Flags topics are covered in the 90-day business builder because it's not a Five Flags program. That would be very expensive. 90-day business builder is how to get you clients, get you money within 90 days. So you're location dependent and you get money and you can quit your job. That's it. Incorporate. What we recommend you do in business builders is incorporate whatever is easy. And then worry about moving your incorporation stuff later when you're making real money. There's no point in spending a bunch of time and effort incorporating in some distant land when you're making zero money. How do you determine whether you put your spin on a pre-existing niche or to attempt to strictly compete on quality? The niche is fast growing. Neither. You ask the niche what their problem is, and you help them solve that problem. There is no spin, and there is no pump on quality. You ask the niche, hey niche, what's your biggest fucking problem? And you have 4 or 5, 6, 7 people or companies all say the same thing. This is our biggest problem. You say, okay, I'm gonna help you fix that. That's it. There's no spin. There's no I'm quality. None of that stuff. If you have your residency in cedula in Paraguay, then is there any reason to get tax ID? Registro único de contabilidad. I don't know how to say it. Your tax ID comes with your cedula in Paraguay. I can't speak to other countries. You get a tax ID when you get your cedula. It's all the same thing. Let's see. For those of you who have middle school age kids, do you have info on the school system? After browsing the FB forums, looks like the schools there can be rough. I do have them martial arts. You're talking about Paraguay, you would get a private school here. Here's my recommendation, and I know you won't do this. If I had small children now, they would be homeschooled, period. They would not go to any public school. They would not go to any private school. Are you insane? The brainwashing they're going to get in these schools? Fuck no. I would tell my baby mama, hey, baby mama, if you want kids with me, you are going to homeschool them, or you're going to find another woman in their lives who's going to homeschool them. I'm not saying it's kids' school. There, your problem is solved. You're probably not going to do that, although you should. So then you look at private schools here, which are extremely inexpensive. It's Paraguay. It's nothing. That's what I would do. I would do that. I would homeschool them. If I had to go to school in Paraguay, they would go to private schools. What about Ecuador as a flag? Depends on what kind of flag. Is Panama a good flag? Depends what kind of flag. Caleb, shouldn't the audience be working right now instead of watching your live streams? That's right. Get off this live stream right now and get to work. I read somewhere that you need 2 people and provide a utility bill to get cedula. Incorrect. You do that through our attorneys. We do it all for you. As a foreign, should one hire private security? As most Americans looked at being rich? No. Paraguay is a low crime country. No, that's very silly. And that is, you must be an American or from the UK to ask a question like that. It's dangerous. I have been all over the world, including places many places Westerners consider extremely dangerous. I have never had a problem with crime in my entire life. I have a whole video on this at the Unchained CEO channel. Go watch that video. If you take precautions, if you understand the lay of the city and you don't do anything stupid, you will literally never have a problem. I have never had a problem with crime. Never had a problem with police. Anywhere in the world I've gone, I've been traveling the world since the early 2000s. I've never had a problem because I understand the dangerous areas and the safe areas. I don't go to the dangerous areas and I don't do stupid shit like go to a high tourist area and a dangerous area and pull out my new iPhone and say, hey, everybody, and then someone hits me on the head and takes my iPhone. Or what a lot of guys do, they go to Colombia, they hire a hooker, have the hooker come over, they spend the night with the hooker, and they wake up and their wallet is gone. I don't do stupid or they get drunk, stumbling drunk. I don't do stupid shit. You'll never have a problem. Is there any state in America that is worth using as part of a 5 flags plan? Not in my opinion, no. No, I have a whole video on why moving from California to Texas or California to Florida is stupid. Move out of California and go outside the country. You're just delaying the inevitable. I just came from Arizona. Arizona is now a blue state. Texas is almost a blue state. So no. You misunderstood the question. I meant take out a loan from a rich Chinaman to buy land in Latin America or elsewhere, since you can't get a mortgage like that in the United States. Go ahead. That sounds very complicated to me, but go ahead. Sure. If you have an option, if you have a rich Chinaman who's going to give you $300,000, go ahead. Sure. You see the anti-tourism protests in Barcelona. No, Spain is not on my radar since it's part of the suicidal Europe, so I don't care. Do you believe in the Fed? Do you believe the Fed is secretly buying debt directly from the U.S. government? Illegal. Instead of purchasing on the open securities market, illegal. That is possible. That is possible. I don't believe it. No, but I do acknowledge it's possible. Yes. All that stuff is possible right now. As I've talked about many times, the elites, the people at the top of the food chain, people who run governments, billionaires, people who run the military, they know everything I'm saying. They know America's collapsing, and they know there's something they can do to stop it. They already know this. So the elites over the next 10 years are going to do some very weird things to maintain their power over a collapsing empire. And it's going to start getting really weird. I mean, right now it's bad. It's going to get worse and worse. But in addition to getting bad, it's going to get weird. You're going to see weird things happen in the next 10 years. And you're going to say, why are they doing that? Oh, I know why they're doing that. Because they know. Okay, let me take a drink. I'll do 2 or 3 more questions and I gotta go. We don't have time here. Good. It is so nice to be in a place that is not hot. So in Dubai, the infrastructure in Dubai is perfect. So in Dubai, it can be 125 degrees outside. And every building you enter, you're nice and cool and it feels fine. You don't feel it at all. In places like American places, collapsing west, like Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, even in Scottsdale, I just was with Pink Firefly's apartment. That's not true. It could be 105 degrees, 110 degrees in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the United States. Okay. Some buildings feel okay and some you're warm because the AC systems just can't keep up because America sucks. So it's nice to be in Paraguay. It's like, what is it right now? I can't look at my temperature. It's something like 62 degrees Celsius outside. It's great. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Now it's going to be like 81 later in the week because it's their winter, but Paraguay's winter, it bounces up and down. So get from anywhere from 58 degrees Fahrenheit, 58 Fahrenheit to 80, 81 Fahrenheit. It bounces around. It's kind of nice. It's neat. Hang on a second. Did I fuck up the questions here? Or are the questions? What do you think of living in Bolivia? Seems very similar to Paraguay. I don't have a lot of data on Bolivia, but I do know getting residency there is much more difficult. Paraguay is the easiest residencies in the world. Bolivia is pretty rough, like Paraguay is. It's even more rural than Paraguay, but I would have no problem with Bolivia if you got residency easily. It's interesting with women in Latin America, something I know a little about. Argentinian women, there's like this hierarchy, okay, in Latin America, these countries, South Latin America, so Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay. Argentinian women look down on Paraguayan women. They think they're like these hicks and rubes, like, oh, well, oh, you're from, oh, she's Paraguayan. Ugh. I'm a tall, white, sexy Argentinian woman, and oh, Paraguayan, okay. And Paraguayan women feel this like this race, it's not racism, whatever you would call it, xenophobia against from these Argentinian women. But then what's funny is Paraguayan women look down on Bolivian women. So it's this whole caste structure they have in Latin America. Not just skin tone, because you have this in Brazil and other countries where the whiter people tend to be more upper class and considered upper class, and the darker skin, more Mexican-looking people tend to be lower class and they're considered more. It's a caste system. So you also have a sexual pecking order here in Latin America, which is interesting. So I thought about that when you mentioned Bolivia. The elites know what would happen whether Trump won or lost, whether he survived or died. I'm pretty sure they have everything planned. People just focus on this cultist agenda, Trump v. Biden. Here, instead of the bigger picture, here's the one issue with what you're saying. The elites are not all part of the same team. There are conflicting groups within the elites. If the elites are all one team, the United Nations would run the earth. But that's not correct, right? So the elites are talking about approximately 25,000 people. They talk 25,000 people on Earth, and 20,000 of those people are in the United States. And do they all agree on everything? No, they don't. So it's not exactly right. And they have things planned as best they can. You're right, but it's not 100%. They weren't planning on Trump. I said this when Trump was elected the first time. I said the one good thing is, for the first time in my lifetime, we had a president elected who was not the chosen, anointed by the elites like Obama was. Hillary was supposed to, in quotes, win that election. So there you go. Is moving to New Zealand as an American a good idea with online income? No, it is not a good idea. I looked at doing it myself. No. Plus, you won't get the correct visas. You won't do it. They're going to tax the shit out of you. No. There's a 15% VAT. No. You don't move from one Western country to another Western country. That defeats the entire point. Now, if you're a billionaire like James Cameron, which is what he's doing, go ahead. Do whatever you want. Outside that, no. How long does residency last in the UAE? 2 to 4 years, depending on how you do it. And when we say last, just renew it. And it's really easy to renew. I've already renewed mine. Just go in and renew it. You pay like $80 and you renew it, and they don't care. How the hell did Gen Z parents view their kids as soft? Oh, Gen X. How the hell did Gen X parents view their kids as soft? We didn't. Sorry, we did. Here's the thing, and this is more of a topic from my other channel. It's Gen X moms. Gen X dads weren't too horrible. It was Gen X mothers that did this in the 90s with everybody gets a trophy. And I told the story about when this happened to me the first time in like 1997 with my son Josh. We were at a pizza party. I'll tell the story. Maybe I'll tell the story on the next live stream. Pizza party, and everyone started getting a trophy, and I'm all confused. Sorry. How does 90-Day Business Builder differ from the Alpha 2.0 business course? Completely different program. Nothing to do with each other at all. Then the Alpha 2.0 business course is a bunch of videos you watch. That's it. That's all. That's why it's cheaper. The 90 Business Builder program, many human beings, myself included, work with you hand in hand, 24/7, literally, plus a bunch of other people over a month to make you do it and to hold your hand and walk through the process and get you money. Completely different program. Will you do a video on your fasting diet while being a frequent traveler? I try not to talk about this stuff because I like to stay in my lane and talk about what I'm good at, and I'm not good at that. I can address that on my other channel. I can address questions on that. Low cost of living countries you recommend. Paraguay, Armenia, Mexico, Uruguay. There you go. After I establish my own business and decide to stay in America by living in the rural areas, wouldn't my movement be extremely restricted and not be able to enjoy the nightlife? Correct. That is what you sacrifice by saying, I have to stay in America the rest of my life. If you're going to go out and live in the rural areas, what you need to do if you're going to stay in America, that is what you sacrifice. Nightlife. Correct. That is what you sacrifice. The one response to that is, what I would do is, first of all, I wouldn't live in America. I don't know what the hell you're thinking, but okay, if you quote have to stay in America, make a lot of money, and fly women in. Get a bunch of FBs around the world, around the country, and fly them in, fly them out to your home out in the middle of nowhere. If you put a gun to my head and force me to stay in the United States, I would do something like that. What about Ecuador and Panama as a flag? I already answered that. My dream is to have a house in Cancun. Can I do that after getting Mexican residency? Yeah, you can do that before getting Mexican residency. Although it's more complicated. Yes. Yeah, my son has 2 apartments. It gets really cheap. He has 2 apartments in, he has one in Guadalajara and one somewhere on the coast, on the east coast of Mexico. It's so cheap. Yeah, you absolutely get that. No problem. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you guys on Wednesday. For those of you who want to join me for the Alpha Male 2.0 live stream. Cool? Cool. All right. Get your location dependent income done. Set up international backup plan. Bare minimum, you Americans, Canadians, Europeans. Trump is not going to fix it, you morons. Biden and the left certainly aren't going to fix it. You're fucked either way. Get your international backup plan in place as soon as you can. If you don't have it already, you're already behind schedule, and I would not want to be you. Cool? Cool. On that happy note, have fun. Bye.